Hello everyone, very good morning to all of you. So friends, welcome back to our Anthropology PYQ series where we are trying to decode every question and master every concept. So friends, today we are not going to just solve a question. So what we are going to do today is that, we are going to just take up how to just write effective approaches and effective ways to write answers. So let's try to have that strategy session. So I hope when I was just going through your copies that you have submitted, so I found that basically there was a minor issues with respect to how to frame approaches. So that is like what to write in the introduction, what to write in the body, and what to write in the conclusion. So that's where I found some fundamental issues. So what we can do in this session is that, first of all, I would like to just congratulate and I would like to just greet all those who are writing and sending answers so that I could able to evaluate them on time, and those who are unable to make it, so I would insist upon them to just keep writing or start writing. So anyhow, we are discussing, even after the discussion, you can listen to the concept, and after listening to the concept, so you can build the conceptual clarity. After that, you can proceed for writing. So if you do not have the sufficient content, so that's how you can do. So thing is that you have to start writing answers. So here what I wanted to just express today is that how to make effective strategies to score high or maximum in anthropology optional. So let's discuss upon that subject, and I hope all of you are joining. So those who have joined, you can confirm that you have joined to this session. Right, so friends, first let's have a glance and let's have a look at the question paper of the 2025. So if you look at the question paper of 2025, so this is the question paper. So let's take up the questions that have been asked in 2025, and then let's take up let's try to understand how we can address and how we can frame better approaches for that particular questions, right? So now, so you can see this is the 2025 Anthropology Paper 1 question paper. So first, we try to address this section completely. So first section with us was in section A, question number 1, 1 to 1A, 1B to 1E. We have done it. So I hope it is clear to you, we have discussed approaches for all those questions. And now, then we have moved on to section B, so where we were trying to just complete the questions asked in as a part of fifth question. So you can see here, so 5A, 5B, 5C, 5D. So we have done till 5D, and the leftover question is 5E. So in all these questions, there are 10 marker questions, so there is no much issues. So simply you can just pick up and question would be straightforward. You can answer and you can just nail it. So that's one thing. But friends, if you see from the perspective of the next questions, 15 marker questions and 20 marker questions, that is long answer questions, they are very much important for us. So for writing the long answer questions, you need to have good approach framing skill. So let's try to master that skills by using the examples from the questions itself. So after doing this in tomorrow's discussion, let's finish this 5E question and then let's jump to the long answer question. So before we go there, I want you to just explain this. So that's why we are holding this session today. So I hope that is clear to you. So now, just look at some of the questions. So how you can frame and what you can do in the answers. So if you see some questions, look at this question. The agenda of the biological anthropology became more scientific from the middle of the 20th century. Justify. So this is the question now. So look at the question and listen to the question carefully. The agenda of the biological anthropology became more scientific from the middle of the 20th century, and the question is asking to justify. So they have given a statement, so they are assuming that that statement is true, and they're asking us to justify. So that we have to establish this with the help of some factual information. So that's what the question is seeking from us. So now what we have to do, so we have to systematically frame a better approach for this particular question. So here what best we can do is that, so one thing that we can do, so first of all, so we should see what should be written in the introduction part. So generally, as I have explained in the introduction, friends. First and foremost thing that you must and should do is that, so you have to systematically identify the central theme of the question. You have to identify the central theme of the question. So here, how can you remember and how can you understand the central theme? So you can remember the central theme, or you can just identify the central theme when you have better knowledge with respect to the syllabus that is mentioned in the notification. So you must and should have to master the syllabus for that. So let's say, for example, the question was asking from the perspective of the biological anthropology. So in this question, the basic central theme of that particular question was with respect to biological anthropology. So in 1.1, unit 1.1, you will be studying 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. In 1.3, you will be having major branches of anthropology. So their different branches, their scope and their relevance. So you can see scope, significance and relevance of different branches of anthropology. So the question has been picked directly from the biological anthropology section point of view. So they are trying to discuss and they are trying to explain you about the significance, relevance and how the biological anthropology is getting evolved. So that's it. So once you identify this central theme, so you can introduce the answer with the help of the central theme. So how you can start? You can start explaining that basically biological anthropology is nothing but it's a branch of anthropology which deals with the biological aspects of the man. So starting from human origins to present. So like that you should introduce. So here identifying this central theme is very, very important. If you couldn't able to understand or identify the central theme, so your introductions could not be effective. So that's one thing, right? So by looking at the introduction, the examiner will come to a conclusion stating that this particular student has understood clearly the syllabus section of the thing, and he also gets to know about that like you are aware of the syllabus. So that's one thing. Then next thing is that, so what we have to write in the body portion of the answer. So that's the next thing. So if we happen to see in the body portion of the answer, so systematically you should identify the chief demand. So here you need to identify the chief demand of the question. So this is, you have to do this one, you have to do. So when you can understand the chief demand, so what the question is asking or expecting from us, or what the examiner is trying to look in us, or what we are expected to write in the answer. So that's what it would be present in the body portion of the answer. So now, so once you identify what you have to do, you have to systematically address body portion with appropriate subheadings. This is important aspects. So you have to place appropriate subheads. When you place the subheads, it becomes easier for the examiner to identify whether you are addressing the demand of the question or not. So by this, examiner will come to a conclusion thinking that this particular student has clearly understood the question and he is trying to answer the question in a systematic fashion. So if you are just proceeding haphazardly without placing subheadings and all those things we have started writing, then examiner may feel sometimes that the student is might be not confident in writing the answer. So that might be the perception that we can have. So I hope that is clear to you. So once you understood the chief demand of the question, so try to frame subheadings. So then try to address the answer under the subheadings in a systematic fashion. So here the question was, the aim of biological anthropology is slightly shifting towards scientific evidences. So you have to systematically provide various researches that have been conducted from the 20th century onwards in the realm of biological anthropology. So that we can say that it's getting more of scientific in tendency. So that's how you can just tackle that. So then in the conclusion, so what you can do, so you can say how the scientific aspects of the research in biological anthropology is trying it to make a living branch. So we can say archaeological anthropology is a kind of, it's a branch that deals with the extinct societies. So here biological anthropology is something that we are dealing with the living societies, as well as in a scientific manner we are going to approach. So that's how you should conclude the answer. So I hope it's clear to you. So what you have to do, introduction, you should identify the central theme. So what would be the central theme? So for that you should understand the syllabus of the section, syllabus of the paper, and from where the question has been picked, and then you should start from that particular subject. So from that particular central theme. So then other important thing that you should remember in this case is that, so you should also have to work with respect to keywords that are being asked in the question. So keywords will be usually, they'll be like that. So in this case, the keyword was justify. In other ways, like it would be things like examine or evaluate or analyze or anything. It would be like discuss. So they are all basically nothing but the keywords. So each keyword has certain meaning in answer writing. So what we have to do, so we should understand this. So when we get the keyword, justify what we have to write. When the same statement has been given with the discuss, so what we should do. So when the same statement has been given with evaluate, examine or analyze, so how we should approach. So this is the core aspect that also you have to understand. So based on these keywords, you should keep your body accordingly. So that's what another important aspect that you have to remember. So for this, what you have to do, for this again, you need to just have a good understanding of the keywords. So once you can understand the keywords, so you can basically frame the right strategies and right approaches. I hope it is getting clear to you. So till here, so is there any doubts for anyone, those who have joined in this session? So that like I can also address some of your doubts. So where you are facing issues, so you can just type in the chat box. So this is how you can produce, and you can proceed with answer writing. So look at some of the other questions. Let's say, for example, describe briefly the theoretical perspectives in the linguistic anthropology to explain the relationship of culture, language, and thought. So the question is one thing. So what it is seeking, describe briefly. So the key word is here describe. So you should identify that. You have to remember it. Then what is it? What it's asking? Describe briefly the theoretical perspectives in linguistic anthropology. So now, the central theme from which the question has been picked is two sections. One is linguistic anthropology is one section of the syllabus. Another thing is relationship of culture, language. So question has relevance of two sections. So in one point, the branches of anthropology, that's the one thing. Another thing, language, culture, and communication, unit 7 of your portion, paper 1. So there, the question is relevant from that. So here, how you should mention means, you can start defining from what is linguistic anthropology. Then you can say language, so you can say linguistic anthropology is a branch of anthropology which deals with various aspects related to origin, nature, origin, and significance of the language. So then you can simply say that what is language and how is it basically interconnected with the culture. So that thing you can say in the introduction portion. Then you can shift towards the theoretical perspectives. So that's how you can proceed, or you should proceed. So the chief demand is theoretical perspectives related to the relationship of culture, language, and the thought. So how thoughts will be reflected into our language, and how language further influences culture. So what is the relationship between culture, language, and thought, human thought? So that's the question. So in the similar fashion, so there are so many questions like that. So see, critically discuss the centrality of the African continent in the narrative of human evolution. So the keyword here is critically discuss. So what is this critically discuss? So they have given new keywords. So usually they used to ask critically analyze. Now they have given the concept critically discuss. So discussion is a kind of written debate. So where you should provide arguments in favor of it, arguments against to this. So when you are providing arguments in favor, so you should critically you should state that although this is being observed or believed that the human evolution has been human evolution has started from the Africa, so there are other perspectives which also disagree with this. So such kind of things makes it critical. So when you are making arguments against, so some of the scholars argue that the human evolution has not been started from Africa, so rather it has been started from these places. So when you are addressing that, there also you should highlight and you should critically you should make a statement stating that, so although they argue, so we have some evidences that the human evolution has been started from the Africa. So like that, so critically whenever it is been added, so you whatever the argument that you are doing, so within that you should highlight the other aspects also. So that's how. So this question has been picked from the human evolution point of view. So there, like in last discussion also, we have understood one thing, that is like mitochondrial DNA also helps to identify the human evolution process. So there, can you able to recollect some concept like mitochondrial Eve? So mitochondrial Eve is nothing but the common maternal mitochondrial DNA that is present the one central maternal line of DNA. So it is believed that that mitochondrial DNA was also explaining about the African origin of the human evolution. So such kind of things you should bring and you should highlight, right? So I hope you're clear with these kind of things. So like this, so you should understand the things in a systematic fashion. So look at this question: examine the utility of human remains in forensic analysis and discuss the facial reconstruction techniques. So two parts of the question are there. So the question is from the applied anthropology, forensic anthropology. So in forensic anthropology, so examine the utility of human remains. So how human remains will help in the forensic anthropology or forensic analysis. Let's say for example, it could be, let's say, body has been burnt. There could be such cases. In such cases, we may found some basic remains of the body. Be it could be the bones, be it could be the tooth, be it could be the skull, or be it could be any others. Or otherwise, like there could be some other remains that will be available for us. So how they will help in clearing or handling such cases. So that's one part of the question. And the next part is discuss the facial reconstruction technique. So what is facial reconstruction technique and how facial reconstruction technique will help in identifying the personality. That means the personal identification. So in forensic anthropology, so that's the basic objective of the question. So here you need to have good idea about the techniques of reconstruction of the personality identification. So that's the core theme of the question. So you should start explaining from the forensic anthropology point of view, and there are so many techniques that help to analyze the in forensic anthropology. So where you can just mention some things, and then you can also say that these are in this way we can just proceed. So like that, so you should just identify the first central theme, and with that central theme we have to pick. So in all the sections, what you have to do, you must and should identify the central theme, and you must and should identify the chief demand, and then you should proceed accordingly. So here another important thing that you have to remember is that you should make your answer holistic. So again I am saying because despite of multiple insistence, so some of you are just making common errors. So to score high in the anthropology, so what we have to do, first and foremost thing is that, so remember this, your answers must be holistic. So holistic answers. What do you mean by this holistic answers? Holistic answers means you should make the answer in a systematic fashion. So you should address all the parts of the question in a systematic fashion. That's first thing. So second aspect that you should remember is that, so you have to make an effective approach. Approach should be effective. What is this effective approach means? So whatever you're writing in the introduction, whatever you're writing in the body portion, whatever you're writing in the conclusion, this content should be good, as well as like you should be clear with what you are going to write, right? So then once you frame good approaches, then comes to the quality of the content quality. So the examiner will be asking, or the UPSC will be seeking you to write answers in prescribed word limit. So 150 words, 250 words, or 300 words, like that. So you should be able to concise all the knowledge that is there with you within this particular word limit. So friends, usually what happens here is that most of the aspirants will keep on reading the syllabus. So they will always try to feel that I should read, I should revise, and I should then proceed towards writing answers. So this is where most of the aspirants will make and commit mistakes. So those whoever watching this particular session, so I insist upon them to immediately start writing irrespective of your reading and revision of the syllabus. So mark my words from today onwards that if you start writing at least for 2026 attempt, you will be ready. Otherwise, what may happen if you feel that if you want, you have to finish entire syllabus, and then if you want to just start writing, by the time you complete the syllabus, your pre will be there. So it could be roughly around, let's say for example, February, March. So if you're finishing your reading and revision of the syllabus by February or March, so then is it possible for you to just pick and write answers in the month of March, April and May? Is there any possibility? Absolutely no, not possible. So what happens? Again you will get a break. So after 3-4 months, again whatever you have read, you will lost some of that particular aspects. So in this aspect, what may happen? Again you will lose the confidence. Again what you feel, let me revise again and then let me write. So in this process, you will be revolving around reading and revision, but you won't have the practice of writing. So UPSC also tests us not only from the perspective of reading ability, UPSC also tests us in writing skills also. So you must and should start writing answers without much delay. So if you start doing it, so that itself makes you master. So that's what. So you should remember. So how you can enrich the quality of the content means when you write the same answer for multiple times, then you can see definitely improvements in your writing. So that's where you should step in. So step in, start writing, so then you can just come to know loopholes in your content also. So your content should be good. That's one thing. Then other aspect that I regularly insist is that apart from framing good approaches and apart from having good quality, so your structure and the presentation of the answer also matters. Structure of the answer and presentation also matters. So friends, remember this always. Presentation, why does it matter? Try to just imagine a situation. Now, tomorrow you would be, fortunately, you would be clearing Civil Services Mains examination. Then you will be just appearing for the personality test. For the personality test, will you go with your casual dress, or like will you go in a funky style, or will you go in a formal style? How do you just approach the interview? Mostly if it is gents, they'll just have a good shirt, pant, and if it is possible, like covered with blazers, so all such kind of things, tie, so with shoe, everything. So you will go in a formal attire, isn't it? So if it is like generally the girls are girls, so what do you do? So mostly you're preferring some sarees, or you'd be preferring some good suit or something like that. So why do you do this? So friends, because the appearance matters. So we are going to just appear in front of the board which is going to evaluate us. The personality evaluation is going to happen there. So our dress, our basic appearance will reflect our personality. So what kind of person we are. So that is reflected in our dress also. So that's where our presentation matters. So immediately as and when you go, so no one can understand your knowledge. So first they will check how you are looking. So by this, they will try to one conclusion that yes, this particular student has some sort of formal behavior. So that's how they will come to. So appearance matters. So presentation also very, very important in this aspect. So whenever you are writing your introductions, try to make the introductions in paragraph format. Whenever you are just try to write conclusions, try to write them in paragraph format. So again, there should be something that you have to keep, as I regularly say and I regularly explain anyone and everyone. So your paragraphs shall have to have in a clear-cut manner. So whenever you are starting, don't start from here. So leave some space and start from here. Then leave appropriate spacing between line to line. So line to line spacing is very, very important, friends. So this is how this will be a paragraph. So start writing your introductions in paragraph format. So this is one important aspect. Okay. Next, if you want to just make your answer, if the answers are analytical answers, and if you want to make your body portion also in paragraph format. So assume that if this is a paragraph that you are writing, so look at the line to line spacing, then you should leave some more space in between paragraph to paragraph. So that we call para spacing. So again, you start from here like this. So you have to maintain the same line spacing and you should give some difference from the perspective of the para spacing point of view. So now you can see that this is where, so we are leaving some space. So this is known as para spacing. So this helps us, the examiner, to identify that the student is beginning new paragraph. So that's another important aspect that you should remember. Is that clear for you? Now, line spacing and para spacing, it should demarcate. So it should not be same. So mostly students will start from here writing. So it won't look like another paragraph. That's one thing. Okay. So that's one thing. So then friends, what other important thing that you have to keep in mind is that, so if you are just looking from the perspective of the entire answer, so then how and what you should do if this is your copy. So if you are just making your introduction like this, so if this is the introduction, so then you have to just give one subheading, and within this you should write some points, and at the end you should conclude your answer also in paragraph format. So roughly your answer should look like this. So if it is like this, so then obviously you can feel that there is like a presentation is good. So examiner should clearly able to understand this is the introduction, this is the body portion, and this is the conclusion. So like that. So presentation matters much. So this is where another important aspect that you should remember, right? Now, how to maximize this score? So there you have to remember some things. So first and foremost thing, what you should do, your answers shall have to have the scholarly touch. So what is this scholarly touch? Answers must have scholarly touch. So what is this scholarly touch means? You should use the relevant scholars and you should use their words. Let's say for example definitions. So you should use those definitions which are relevant, and you should also use this anthropologist's name. Let's say for example when you are defining marriage, you have to just talk about the Royal Anthropological Society of Institute of Great Britain and Ireland's notes and queries. So marriage can be defined like this. Or if you are defining culture, then you should explain or use E.B. Taylor's definition. So according to E.B. Taylor, or E.B. Taylor, the father of cultural anthropology, has defined culture as that complex whole. So like this you have to proceed. So you have to touch those aspects. Then whenever you are just writing, so your answers should systematically include case studies or ethnographic examples. They are mandatory. Ethnographic examples, so tribal examples, so such kind of things are very, very important for us, because this shows that you are very good and you are writing in a systematic fashion. So that's one important aspect. Okay, so in socio-cultural anthropology you must and should write the case studies. In tribal anthropology also you must and should write the case studies, and as well as in the Indian anthropology also you must and should write the case studies. Then if it is biological anthropology, so what you have to do, primatology, biological anthropology, in this section try to incorporate necessary diagrams. That is important. So you must and should incorporate diagrams for particularly the biological anthropology section and the primatology as well as archaeological anthropology point of view. That's very, very important. So that makes your answer more effective. So that's one thing. And wherever it is important or wherever it is relevant, you should add some presentation enriching aspects. So use tables, use cloud diagram kind of things in a systematic manner, so that you can also meet the needs of the space constraints. So that's how. So likewise, so you should give scholarly touch, you have to incorporate case studies and ethnographic examples, and you should also use the key or pioneer anthropologists concerned with that particular aspects. So very, very important thing is this. So whenever you are talking about a particular concept, so you introduce it, that who propounded. Let's say for example, the concept of cultural relativism has been propounded by Franz Boas. So he is also regarded as father of modern anthropology. So this is how, if you introduce, then examiner will get to know that you know that particular aspect. Are you getting that? So that's all. Or if you're talking things like, let's say, Kula ring concept or Kula exchange. So the concept of the Kula ring is nothing but it's a ceremonial gift exchange process that has been identified by Malinowski among Trobriand islanders, and he has systematically mentioned a detailed account of Kula ring concept in his book, The Argonauts of Western Pacific. So that's how, when you mention the key anthropologists and their literary works, that further gives credence to your answer. That's how examiner will get a very good impression on your answer and your knowledge. So I hope that is also clear to you all. So friends, these are all some things that you have to keep in mind before addressing and before answering the questions. So friends, what am I expecting from you is that only this thing. So only this thing. So some of you are doing and some of you have still not started it. So what am I expecting from you is only this thing, like start writing. So just keep this in mind, that there is no one will be judging you. So you'll be writing just for the sake of yourself, to improvise your writing skills. So again remember that answer writing is a skill. So writing is a skill. So what is a skill? A skill is something that will be effectuated and will be enhanced, and it can be better when you do it on a continuous basis. So if you want to become an artist, so you have to start drawing the diagrams continuously. So when you do that over and over, so it makes you perfect. So practice makes man perfect. So here also what you need is the practice. So answer writing practice is the key to just find out your strengths and weaknesses, and thus it helps you to just clear the examination, because answer writing is one such skill that is the game changer in clearing the examination. So reading, writing, speaking, as well as listening. So all these skills you must and should possess. So for clearing mains examination, you need to have the writing skills. So dear friends, I would strongly recommend and I would strongly suggest all of you to follow the PYQ challenge, and from day after tomorrow onwards, so you start writing. So tomorrow we'll be anyhow discussing the 10 marker question. So from day after tomorrow, like I'll be posting the question prior, every day by 6 o'clock around, I'll post the question even in the Telegram group. So there you can pick and you can try to write answer. So regularly by, let's say for example, by 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. I'll drop the question in the group. So pick that question, try to just work upon that and then try to write answer by night. And before 11:30, what you can do, before 11:30 you can drop next day, so you can drop or you can send your answers. In PDF format. So by this way, you can start answer writing. You will just go through the question and then you'll be writing that, and then you can just get to what extent your answer matches with the model answer, or to what extent your content matches with the actual content. So that's another important aspect that you should remember. Then whenever it is possible, so like by 11:30 p.m. So by 11:30 p.m. I'll try to evaluate and give feedback on your answers. So this is how, friends, we can follow a schedule. So by 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. daily, you will be getting the question of that particular next day, and try to write answer for that particular question before 11:30 a.m. and submit it in the Telegram group, and then you can just join the live session by 11:30 a.m. daily, and then you can just expect the evaluation part by 11:30 p.m. night. So that's what we can do, and that's what I can do, and that's how I can help in your preparation. So friends, I hope you'd be doing this not for the sake of myself, but for the sake of yourself. You must and should do, so you can decide your fate of success. So that's all I wanted to share with you for today. So friends, tomorrow let's join at 11:30 a.m. sharp, and let's try to pick up the remaining question of the 10 marker, and let's finish that, and then let's proceed for the long answer questions that have been picked and asked in 2025. So that's all for today from my side. So friends, thank you all of you for joining this session. So I'm signing off. It's me, your Dr. Suresh Uramkunda. Thank you all.